Welcome to Story Time, boys and girls. We're going to be picking up right where we left off in A Child's Introduction to African American History, the experiences, people, and events that shaped our country. This book is by Jabari Asim and it is illustrated by Lynn Gaines. Are you ready? We are on page number 34. We're not only going to read, but we're going to work on fluency. That is how smoothly you read. And we're going to work on timing this year. So as we begin on page 34, we're going to set a time limit to read 2 pages, and it is going to be 10 minutes. Now that may be too much time for some people or not enough time, but we're also going to work on how long it takes us to read and how smoothly we read this year. Let's begin. The bumpy road to civil rights. Fight or be slaves. Pullman Porters were proud of the work they did, but they were paid low wages and forced to rely on tips while laboring long hours. They wanted more pay and better working conditions. On August 25, 1925, 500 porters met secretly in Harlem and voted to form a union, adopting fight or be slaves as their motto they chose. A Philip Randolph as their leader. To build interest in the new union called the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, Randolph held meetings, gave speeches, raised funds, and filed legal complaints on behalf of railway workers. The Pullman Company fought back, discouraging its 10,000 porters from joining the union and spreading rumors about Randolph. 10 years after he began organizing, the American Federation of Labor accepted the union as an official member. The Brotherhood became the first Black labor organization ever to receive such recognition. 2 years later, they signed a labor agreement with the Pullman Company. Get to know A. Philip Randolph. Organizing a labor union was just one of A. Philip Randolph's many accomplishments. In 1917, he co-founded and co-edited The Messenger, a leading journal of Black ideas. In 1941, after fighting years for equal opportunity, he announced plans for a march on Washington. His plan to bring 10,000 Black protesters to the nation's capital led President Franklin Roosevelt to ban discrimination in the defense industries, federal agencies, and unions. Randolph called off the march, but revived his plan in the summer of 1963 when he joined Martin Luther King Jr., John Lewis, and other civil rights leaders in the largest public demonstration the country had ever seen. Winning democracy for the Negro is winning the war for democracy. A. Philip Randolph. Moving to page 35, we have 5 minutes left for this video. Scottsboro Boys. On March 25th, 1931, a group of young Black men got into a fight with a group of white men and tossed the white men from a freight train. At a nearby station, the Black men were taken off the train and arrested. The young Black men, 9 in all, were charged with assaulting 2 white women who had also been on the train. Within 2 weeks, they were placed on trial in Scottsboro, Alabama, and found guilty. All but the youngest, who was 12, was sentenced to death. Juries made up of only white people had voted to convict the Scottsboro Boys without any evidence linking them to the crime. Protests began almost immediately as civil rights lawyers rushed to file appeals to fight back against the rulings. The legal battle lasted more than a decade. The state of Alabama kept trying to convict the young men even after the Supreme Court had overturned their verdicts twice, and one of the accusers admitted she had been lying. Nearly 20 years passed before the final defendant was released. On November 21st, 2013, my goodness, the governor of Alabama formally declared the Scottsboro Boys innocent of all charges. Bad medicine. In 1932, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted a study of syphilis with the help of Tuskegee University. They examined the effects of the deadly disease in 600 poverty-stricken African American men without ever telling them exactly what their sickness was. They even withheld medicine from them that they knew would cure them. Many of the men died of the disease, and several passed it on to their wives and children. The Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment went on for 40 years. It changed the way that scientists can perform medical experiments in the United States. Researchers can no longer give subjects tests or treatment without the informed consent or agreement of their subjects. Scientists must tell their subjects what disease they have, and they must tell the truth when reporting their test results. Oh my goodness. And that is going to be the end of our reading today of the book, A Child's Introduction to African American History. I hope that you read along with me, and I hope that you learned some new words. Until next time, thank you so much for watching today's video, and tomorrow, look forward to reading about super lawyers, Double Five, Mildred Hemmons Carter, the first Black female pilot in the state of Alabama, Red Tails, and desegregating the Army. Bye-bye.